Hello and welcome. I'm Yasser Abdel-Hakim, sitting in for Yasmin Bakir for this episode. And our main story for today is the latest developments in the UK. We all know of the lootings that took place in several English cities. What will the government be doing? How it will combat these problems, whether the looting or the economic situation in the UK? We're going to know from our guest, Mr. Mohamed Elalfy, the political and economic analyst, later on. But we will, as usual, start with a quick recap of what's going on around Europe. So let's start with the headlines. Italy calls for Euro bonds and the UK backs fiscal union. Germany celebrates the 50th anniversary of the building of the Berlin Wall. And Cameron seeks US advice on gangs after the riots. Welcome back, and we begin with Italy, which has approved 45.5 billion euros in emergency austerity measures over 2 years to balance the budget by 2013 in response to demands by the European Central Bank. The cabinet approved the packages and the cuts and new taxes despite fierce resistance from local government officials who denounced the measures as socially unjust and damaging to economic growth. Premier Silvio Berlusconi told the news conference that the vote had been unanimous and it met the wishes of the European Central Bank. The measures were whipped together in response to the ECB, which demanded a balanced budget a year earlier than anticipated, as well as structural reforms to promote growth. The cabinet approved 20 billion euros in cuts for 2012 and 25.5 billion euros for 2013. Britain's finance minister called for some form of fiscal union to resolve the Eurozone's debt crisis on Saturday, while his Italian counterpart renewed his call for the introduction of a common Eurozone bond. Some economists and policymakers are making the case for broader changes on how the currency bloc works. The spread of market concerns and the crisis in France in the past week have raised the stakes further ahead of a meeting of the bloc's French and German leaders next week. UK Chancellor George Osborne said deeper integration had been the inevitable conclusion from the start of the single currency project. Italian Economy Minister Giulio Tremonti renewed a call for common European bonds. Moving on to Greece, where the debt-stricken country saw its economy shrink even faster in the second quarter as the government's tough austerity measures started to really bite. The Greek Statistics Agency said on Friday the Greek economy suffered a steep 6.9% year-on-year contraction in the second quarter, much worse than the 5.5% drop on an annual basis in the first quarter. The poor figures come as fears grow that the Eurozone debt crisis could help tip the world economy back into recession, and days after Greece opened doubt on whether it could meet requirements for a second bailout agreed last month. And we move on to Russia, where Russian police detained scores of anti-government protesters holding an unsanctioned demonstration in the center of Moscow. The action, dubbed the Day of Wrath, was organized by the Left Front, whose leader, Sergei Udaltsov, is currently serving a 15-day jail sentence for taking part in a rally on July the 31st. The few dozen protesters gathered outside the subway station near the Kremlin, chanting "Free Sergei Udaltsov." Police dispersed the demonstrators within minutes. Amnesty International has declared Udaltsov a prisoner of conscience and demanded his immediate release. Emergency helicopters on Saturday rescued 20 people who had been trapped for 17 hours overnight on an Alpine cable car in southern Germany. Helicopters' crews lifted the cable car operator and 19 tourists to safety from the gondola, suspended 330 feet above the ground on Tegelberg mountain. A mountain rescue specialist have been lowered into the 130-square-foot gondola late on Friday to provide food and clothing for the stranded travelers, ranging in age from 4 to 75. Saturday's operation to bring the group back to safer ground took about 2 hours, and more than 200 emergency personnel were on site. The cable car climbs the 6,170-foot mountain, was halted on Friday after a paraglider tandem flight crashed into its cables. Germany marked the 50th anniversary of the day the Berlin Wall started to go up, with a memorial service and a minute of silence in memory of those who died trying to flee to the West. We have the details.
Germany this weekend marked the 50th anniversary of the day communist East Germany sealed itself off behind the Berlin Wall. A ceremony marking the occasion was attended by German President Christian Wolff, Berlin Mayor Klaus Wowereit, and German Chancellor Angela Merkel, who grew up behind the wall in Germany's communist eastern part. The commemoration ceremony was held at a newly completed memorial site at Bernauer Street in Berlin, where parts of the wall and an attached surveillance tower now form a museum. The road where the museum is located was divided in two on August 13, 1961, and some 2,000 East German residents were expelled from their houses to allow the communist authorities to secure the new border. The memorial at Bernauer Street, which ran along the wall in West Berlin, was the site of hundreds of escape attempts, many through famed tunnels. Some 130 people lost their lives trying to escape into the West across the Berlin Wall. However, the exact number is still disputed. Germany had been divided into a capitalist Western and communist Eastern sectors after the end of World War II. At the height of tensions between the United States and the Soviet Union, the East German regime started building the wall through the capital on August 13, 1961. That split put divided Germany at the very forefront of the Cold War for nearly 30 years. The wall came down in 1989, and today only a few of the wall's roughly 12-foot-high concrete slabs remain standing, reminders of the city's 28 years of division.
And welcome back. We will start our discussion for our main story for today, which are the developments in the UK. British Prime Minister David Cameron under attack over his leadership during the rioting and looting that swept English cities last week, and has enlisted US street crime expert William Bratton to advise the government on handling the gang violence. We'll go to a report and then we'll be back with our guest, Mr. Mohamed Elalfy, the political and economic analyst.
British Prime Minister David Cameron has asked former New York Police Commissioner Bill Bratton to act as consultant to British police on how to curb street violence. Bratton has agreed to visit Britain in the coming months to give advice on tackling gang culture in the wake of the bomb rioting, arson and looting that has blighted English cities in recent days. Police were out in force in London on Saturday in a bid to prevent any repeat of England's worst riots in decades, which left city neighbourhoods smouldering and 5 people people dead. The number of officers was more than doubled to 16,000 earlier this week, and Home Secretary Theresa May said that the extra police numbers would stay on the beat until the further notice amid concerns violence could flare up this weekend. England has had 3 quieter days following 4 nights of rioting. The violence started in London, but the trouble soon spread to other major cities, including Birmingham, Manchester, Liverpool and Nottingham. London's Metropolitan Police said they arrested 1,144 people, of whom 693 have been charged. As fears of renewed violence remained high, a row escalated between police and politicians as both sides sought to deflect blame for the crisis. The police have been criticised for their reluctance to crack down hard on the first riot in North London district of Tottenham last Saturday. Critics say the cautious approach encouraged unrest to spread across the capital and then to other English cities. But senior officers hit back in rare public attacks on political leaders who last year introduced funding cuts to police forces across Britain as part of a wider package of austerity measures. In online Comres poll of 2,008 adults for the independent newspaper conducted on Wednesday and Thursday showed strong backing for the reversal of government cuts to police budgets, 71%, and for automatic jail sentences for even the most minor of riot-related offences, 78%. Some 54% agreed that Cameroon had failed to provide the necessary leadership to take control of the rioting in London early enough.
All right, those were some details of what happened, and we have with the studio, in the studio with us, Mr. Mohamed Elalfy, economic and political analyst. Good evening, sir. Sir, let's first start with David Cameron, the Prime Minister, when he said at the very beginning that the reaction by the police forces and the response to the riots was inadequate and the tactics were used not working. This kind was a reaction, negative reaction by many. They say it was the wrong reaction at the wrong time. What's your point of view?
Unfortunately, David Cameron take all times the wrong reactions, and I think he is not a professional politician. I know he's a Prime Minister of Great Britain, but he's not qualified to work under pressure. The first reaction for him, he forgets the main reason of this demonstrations, and he said directly he's treating his people, I will bring the army to the streets, and then he said I will bring an American expert to advise U.S. police, and he forget that he reduced the budget of the U.S. police, and he forget also that his government and the ex-governments also ignore some poor districts in UK, in all UK, not in Birmingham or Manchester only, in most of the UK. There is now very poor districts, and any visitor to UK can watch this by his eyes. He forgets the main reason. That's due to the financial crisis and due to the ignore of his government and the ex-governments to those people. And unfortunately, he said that gangs would like to create a case of chaos inside UK, so I will use the army. He is deceiving himself and deceiving the people, and that was expected from the beginning of 2011, but they will try to say something else to the world.
All right, you said that he announced that what started or what's doing this are gangs. They're not normal people who are using. It started in Tottenham in North London when one citizen was killed by police.
Yes.
And this is how it all started. You think it was not gangs, or who did all this?
All those people, they have needs as a normal citizens. They ignore. We would like also to remind our viewers in the beginning of 2011, he reduced the budget of education, budget of scientific researches, reduced the general budget of UK, and they didn't offer or provide any actual solution to his country, but he just given a talk, and now under pressure he can't give real solutions. Until now, he didn't success to lead Britain.
He said that the British government is setting up a £20 million support scheme to help businesses get back up and running quickly. I will need to confirm the 20 million, but I feel it's a very small amount of money to solve such a big problem.
Yes, now he's kidding us. That's a nice joke. From also the beginning of 2011, we know all experts in UK and all over the world knows that the British economy need 100 billion sterling pound.
100 billion?
Yes, sterling pound to refresh this economy. Of course, David Cameron and his government can't. We can't blame them for this disaster of this they didn't destroy it actually, but this is due to the British adventures, military adventures all over the world, and in Afghanistan and Iraq, and now they are with NATO in front of Libya. They didn't concentrate to create a new rescue plan for them country. They concentrate to get the solution from outside UK, and that's very dangerous, and they are forcing the British society to go for right, and they are supporting this policy, support the extreme politicians to be in the British scene soon, and those people will work against the minorities in UK.
What are the problems that the UK is facing? We want to know the details of the economic situation that has led to this. There are cuts to public services by the Conservative Liberal Democrat. What else? What is the problem?
The problem is like the general problem in all of EU countries. They concentrate on the huge business, rely on the retail strategies and the market strategies, and they forget that the traditional economic and they unfortunately we are talking about UK. They forget the economy based on the knowledge, how to produce technology. They forget, they lose too much in this field, and so the British economy lose too much from his power.
What should the government do in this situation? He has a problem. You're saying that he's not to blame for the problem. It's because of the former governments, but he's faced with it now and he has to take action. What should the action be at this point? Especially when we talk about the British economy, the general cut is not the solution. He should go directly to the international partnership with other countries and to increase spending in inside his country to refresh his economy again, not to cut more and more. And also the international partnership and will save for his companies huge projects outside UK. So he should go to it directly. What do you mean by international partners? Give me an example.
For example, he can go to the British companies should be supported by the UK government to get huge projects outside UK to save direct income to the British economy.
So they would make projects inside the UK, you mean, or outside?
Outside. Now, for the time being, they should go directly to projects outside UK to refresh inside.
What about projects inside? I think one of the problems is unemployment or low pays. How can he solve this problem?
The unemployment, of course, it's is not the UK only face this problem, unemployment, but they should reduce the percentage of unemployment people. They should reduce it to be 5 to 6% from the total manpower inside UK, and of course they can't fight this directly and to reduce it to 2 or 3%. It's impossible, but they should reduce it 3 or 4%. I think the situation will be good, at least to finish the case of chaos inside UK.
How can he? How you're saying he needs 100 billion sterling pounds? How can he fund this? The government doesn't have the money, and I don't think the British companies can help with such a huge amount.
Unfortunately, the behavior of the British government now, they went out, but not to create international cooperation with other countries, no, but to be a partner in a war. That is, they used to do it like what happened in Iraq and Afghanistan, and now against Libya, and they are planning only to refresh the economy from the sales of military equipments, not from the how to produce technology to create a case of stability and to save direct income to the British economy. They are going again to adventures and running behind the state's policies all over the world, but they will lose too much if they will continue to do it, and they will lose too much if they will not create a rescue plan to refresh or to fight this case of chaos inside UK.
George Osborne, the Minister of Finance, has announced that at one point a few months ago that he can sell, like you said before, 50% of the forests in England. What's your reaction to that?
Unfortunately, that's not a serious talk, or not a serious talk to a member in the British cabinet. And he said, I will sell 50% to create luxury projects for housing. Of course, it will not go directly to the unemployment. There is no, but the benefit will go directly to 5 or 6 people, the owners of these companies or this project. But we are talking about how to give directly to those people in the streets. Those people, he said, David Cameron said about them, he forgets that those people, British people, and he said it's gangs. So it's, they are not serious to find solution, and they don't have active brains to provide direct solutions for them.
Do you expect England to go on the road of trying to get a bailout like other countries like Greece did for solving their problem, getting money to solve their economic situation?
Of course, they need more than 100 billion sterling pound. As I know, 100 billion sterling pound to continue. But of course, they need direct support right now.
So they can go. They can take a bailout from Germany or the European Union countries.
Yes, they need it now, urgent. And if they will delay, the problem will increase inside the streets. So the situation in most of Europe, there is a similarity. The financial crisis show us the weakness of these economics, because they are using a huge economic strategies rely on the retail, and this no one can, and this is the American advice for them to create a huge market, internal huge market, but this is not successful strategies of economic plans.
Are we finding now that the concept of one huge market like the European Union is unity? It's going to tumble down. It was the wrong situation, because a couple of years back, or the last few years, everyone was saying we need blocks, economic blocks together, like the EU is doing. We need it in the Middle East, in the Arab countries, the same. Is this whole issue going to fall out? Will we start saying something else?
This union, the EU union, dangerous right now, because of course the EU bank can't support all the members in this union, can't finance the troubles inside. But I think we will see soon many countries will not work under the banner of the European Union, and will work separately to find personal solutions for each country outside of the EU, because the EU giving them loans with a high interest. It's incredible to return back to this Central European Bank the original loan. It's incredible to return back, and also they will not pay the interest. So what is the result? The result is nil.
So they can go to the IMF or the World Bank or other countries outside of Europe.
Yes, they will go, and also they will, if they will not, they should change the economic strategies to rely on the traditional economy and to rely on the internal industries to return back again to create a new economy, instead of the other one rely on the retail business, and this one prove actually it's a wrong direction to them.
All right. Mr. Mohamed Elalfy, political and economic expert, we thank you very much for joining us today. And we also thank our viewers for being with us. Until we meet again next week, have a very good day.